Welcome to the House of Hammer, built by the nation for the nation. Welcome to Raider Nation News today. Hope everybody's having a great Thursday wherever you guys are at. Y'all know the routine. Those that are coming on in and those new in here, let me learn you real quick. Break them thumbs, hammer that sub, smash the bell to stay up to date with all your Raiders news, rumors, updates, live streams, and reactions. As always, I'm your resident tribal chief, Hammer.
Acknowledge me.
And again, I hope everybody's having a great Thursday night wherever you guys are at. I know we're minutes away from the start of Thursday night football between the Dolphins and the Bills. I should have changed my pick. I'm going to leave it the way it is. I went with the Dolphins. I probably should have went with the Bills. But that's not what we're here for. We are here for our weekly matchup preview, and we have another special guest. A former Raider, a former Raven. It just made sense to have him on. Known for the famous block punt in Super Bowl 37 against the Tampa Bay Bucks to the house for that touchdown. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let me bring in our special guest tonight for Vault Talk, Mr. Tim Johnson. Everybody, let's give him a warm... Uh-oh. You there? Uh-oh. I think he's gone. So I think he was having some issues with this connection. I'm going to wait for him to pull back up and we'll bring him on. Let's go back to the solo. Let's go back to the solo screen for now. I'm going to wait for him to pull back up and we'll bring him in momentarily. Let me get this going. I'm sorry about that, guys. His camera's not up yet, so we got to wait for that to come back up. But while we wait, I don't know, he keeps going in and out. So while we wait, we'll chop it up for a little bit. Let me get to the chat real quickly. Actually, I'm going to move the chat over so it's a little bit easier for us to focus tonight. Here we go. Salute to Eagle Terry, and salute to Mike Rain, salute to Sarah, salute to Terry, salute to Adam, salute to the president of JSRBC. Terry, what's good? Here to say we about to get some... Good God, really? Do we have to even start with that already? Too early, too early. Huey, what's good? Yep, and we're going to talk about it once we get him back on. I don't know what happened. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to get a message and see what's going on. But salute to everybody that has pulled up so far. We kind of gave a small breakdown. Armando, what's good? Lose that friend, Raiders will rebound. I like that. Search and destroy, salute. All right. So in the meantime, you're gonna rock with me for a little bit. Once I see him back backstage, we will get that back up and running. Again, I apologize for that. No idea what happened. It did look like a bad connection on the other end, but hopefully we get this squared away and we'll be able to chop it up for a little bit. See if I'm missing anybody in here. I was split on the game. I went with the Dolphins. Yeah, there were things that I was looking at in terms of the matchup. Mostert is out. They did have a chain as active. This is for the Pigskin Pick'em. And Sarah, I don't know if you saw this the other day. The Pigskin Pick'em League, it's free. I changed it just before the start last week. You guys can still join. The links are on the community post on the YouTube page. So guys, if you guys still want to get down on that, pull on up. Let's have some fun with that. Me and Desert right now are the leaders for the league right now. We both stand at 13-3. So it has been something that's been fun to do the first two seasons. I put my picks in yesterday. Okay, good. And I think we have him back. Yes, we do. So let's put this link back in the chat so we have him back in here. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry for the dead air. You know I hate doing that. See if we get this going the right way now. All right. Now, in the vault, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Tim Johnson. What's good, man?
What's up, guys? I'm sorry about that, man. Internet went out right as soon as the kicked on and had to switch over to my cell phone. So what's up, man? Sorry about the delay. Raider Nation, that's it.
I see Big Bros in the building. Salute to Graf. It was funny because me and Graf were actually talking earlier today and did not remember until we had this conversation, but we were both in Vegas for Alumni Week in 2022 with Stuart Schweigert. Shout out to Stu, by the way. And
No.
we were actually all hanging out while we were at the Delano during Alumni Week. So it's funny how
Okay.
things work. It's funny how things work. It's funny how life works out sometimes. But yeah, I meant to actually have that conversation with you before. I was like, we did hang out before. We did have a few drinks before. It was a good time.
Yeah, for sure. It
So,
was, man. It was. We got to do it again.
absolutely. So let's first off, let's talk about your career in the NFL. And like obviously we're doing a matchup preview tonight for the Ravens and the Raiders. What was it like playing for both organizations? Do you have any memories or really solid relationships still with players from either one of the teams? And your relationship with, of course, Al Davis. That's one question we always ask with players that were around when Al Davis was still around.
Man, Al was the best. Uh, my issue with Al would be, after a season, he'd call me up to his office and it just be he and I. You open the door, you walk in there, he got all this white carpet on the floor. Just the room just lights up when you walk in. Sit down and he talks about the team, talks about the season. He's even asked me, he asked me before, like, what do you think about this guy? What do you think about this position? Or how do you and you give him your opinion and that was some cool times back then with Al being straight up and dealing with me head on, as a businessman and sitting down being able to talk business with the old man was really cool. Um, the Raiders, I go out there to the alumni event every year. Try to get out there every year in Vegas and hang out with the guys, new guys, old guys. The whole Raider Nation, the Raider alumni, we all kick it every year just about. Uh, so I'm in touch with all those guys in Vegas and back in Cali, Oakland and stuff. So the Ravens, I bump around here and there would, get around with Ray a little bit, Ray Lou and Ed Reed, the greats, hang out with those guys a little bit every now and then. That's about it, man. I mean, other than that, I mean, Ravens organization is really good too at bringing guys back, alumni guys. We had a good alumni event this year, last year. Matt Little doing a good job with that, and in fact, we were back this year with Baltimore at the stadium and hanging out. Jacoby Jones was there. He ended up passing a few weeks ago, and so we got to honor him this week at the game as well. So just keeping together. You get to see guys, get to keep up with guys, and that alumni and brotherhood is really important for both teams, and not only both teams but across the league.
So I heard Bart Scott had mentioned this last week on his show on ESPN Radio in terms of the alumni event that you
But
guys had. You guys did a watch party at M&T Stadium. I believe it was last Thursday night for the matchup against the Chiefs. I heard about the swag that you guys get every single year with the alum, including this hoodie that he was like bragging about on the air. Like, what other interesting swag gifts have you gotten between either organization?
man, you get it all. I mean, you get from license plate covers to you know cool coolers. You get all types of T-shirts and hats and just good old school memorabilia, new stuff. You get jerseys. You get your old jerseys back. I mean, new jerseys. What do you want? Hoodies with the team on it. They're the teams, the league, the owners are really up in the ante on taking care of guys who gave and supported and gave back to this game and built this game and stuff. So for me, I mean, the Ravens are really good. They give you the jerseys, they give you the hoodies in the box. You get the cool stuff mailed to your house, and you got to go to Vegas to get your stuff out in Vegas and get all your goodie bags there and man, it's a competition. It's a competition to see who can treat their former guys the best, and you interact with the owners. I think it's not some tangible gift for me. It's more or less I get to shake hands and take a picture with Mark Davis when I go back. I get to go to Baltimore and stand there and take a picture with Steve Bisciotti, and just to those see those owners come, get close and collapse on the field, get right in there with the guys. I think that makes it's priceless.
So you were talking about Al Davis before, and rest in peace to one of the greatest to do it, and
Yeah.
Brooklyn, of course. So you got to always
Yep.
represent New York. Always got to represent Brooklyn because that's where I'm from. I'm from Long Island, New York. So,
Yes, sir.
talking about being about business, let's talk about HIP. You're the founder of this company. Let the viewers in on this business that you have.
Hey, I like to call myself the Elon Musk of Tesla. I'm the Elon Musk of brain protection. It was early on. We don't have a product. We're working on getting a helmet or a product made, prototyped, at least get some research done on it to get it locked in and solid. And we want to be able to make the helmet. We want to be able to manufacture the helmet, the brain crown, my brain crown. And so and my brain crown head impact prevention force distribution helmet is revolutionary. It's first in its class. It's an innovative head tech head health challenge helmet. And it's built to protect the brain from concussion. That's anti-concussion from football to anti-concussion in the military to just basically building something that we haven't seen before to protect the brain and to prevent these concussions and give guys a healthy career, healthy life after career, and really give the game the the jolt that it could use and need in terms of getting back to old school football. So the business of it is health and safety. And so we have a mission to protect the brains in impact and in sports and also in the military.
So what was it that really inspired you to start this start this organization? Was this something that was like a life after football decision, or was this something that you had on your mind even before life after football?
Well, I think that's the answer. Is life after football is, who said that was after football? I guess once the league say you're done, I guess that's when we say we done. But for
Right.
me, I never really stopped playing the game. I never stopped playing the game mentally. I tried to keep a youth football all-star game or something going to stay in touch with the kids, coaching. Hip football came from my all-star games to just going in the education. I remember one of the time my coach Jim Trussell asked me to put some education in the game after one of my All-Star games. I'm like, huh? I said, okay. So I thought about it, came back the next year with hip head impact prevention. We want to teach the kids how to play the game, teach youth, girls, boys, how to play the game. And we tag off as NFL players, two-hand touch. And I said, you know what? 99% of these kids won't go pro. So why don't we teach them how to tag off, save the body, save the energy, learn the game, educate yourself, learn your alignment assignment technique with hip. And then we would send kids, we bring kids on and we put the soft shell helmet on them. We put them soft shell shoulder pads, put on a whole uniform, go out and practice just like a league game, just like a league practice. And they come off tagging on each other, and then they leave and go home with no concussions. And we knew that we had that data because you know what? No one bumped their head today. We tagged off. We didn't tackle. Nobody fell on the ground. Nobody hit and went head to head. So we got out of here safely today. So just teaching kids the game, and then those kids got better at tackle because they would go out and the group that participated the most won a Super Bowl, went undefeated and won a Super Bowl that season, practicing 3 times a week, two days with pads, 3 days without playing hip, and they would go. They went on and won a Super Bowl. That young group of kids between 8 and 11. So, um, educating the kids and while preserving the brain, preserving the body, till we can get the game innovated and get the equipment innovated. That was the way we used the game to engage the youth. Took them to the NFL Hall of Fame in Canton and just had fun with them at the Youngstown State University at the indoor. Got them on flights, got them in hotels, flying from different states. Just getting the game to grow. And so just through health and safety, and you know what, HIP is something from 2017. Then in 2020, we went to HIP MD post pandemic during the pandemic, HIP MD to address the equipment. Now we got the league with HIP Football League, and then we got HIP MD as the equipment manufacturer of the league. And so we're now working on the equipment.
Salute to everybody in the chat. I don't know how many we have in here, but salute to who is this? A gifted Christopher Raiders. He gifted 5 memberships. Salute my guy, and salute to Richard Dushock. He gifted 5 Raider Nation News Today memberships as well. You guys want to support the channel? Best way to support the channel and keep the lights on here at Raider Nation News Today. Click that link at the very top. Now, in terms of hip. Is this something, especially when it comes to the helmets, because we know that NFL has tried to be a little bit safer when it comes to injuries, most specifically concussions and doing concussion protocols. And now you see during practices, and it's an option now for games that players are wearing the Guardian helmets. Has the league come to you? Has NCAA football or high schools come to you guys about this helmet?
Come to hip MD, come to hip about it.
Like, have they inquired about using these helmets as well?
Well, I'll say this: hip football started in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
and in 2019, the NFL brought the NFL Helmet Challenge to Youngstown State University, and that's where I participated along with a lot of other companies and submitted my first prototype to the helmet challenge. Didn't win any money, but the league at least noticed that hip football was doing some things, and they came in and did a helmet challenge. And since then, we've been Hip MD. We've been pushing the envelope to see if we can push our technology forward, to see if we can get anybody interested, to see if we can create any waves with just trying to see if we can make it and then make it different. Make it better and more efficient, lighter. Think looking at the weight. So I just think, for us, we just want to focus on really what we can do. But yeah, not they didn't come directly to me, but I see that the Guardian goes over to Rodell. That's some of the soft shell technology we were using with the youth with our strap-on soft shell helmets with Game Breaker.
Gotcha.
So with Game Breaker we were good, and then the Guardian, I see the league is taking steps to not only pass out $1 billion in retribution, but more or less saying, hey, here's some solutions. Here we're having contests, we're having challenges, we're doing things to innovate the game, and I think that means just as much as a payout.
Have you seen? Did you get a chance to watch either one of the games, either the Ravens and KC or us against the Chargers last week?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of the Ravens and KC, and a little bit of the Chargers versus Raiders.
So, what are your thoughts going into this week 2 matchup? The Raiders are coming to Baltimore to face Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. What are your thoughts on both teams as it stands right now going into week 2? Both of them coming off of losses. KC's their loss to KC for the Ravens was a bit controversial at the end with the toe on the white, and the Chargers just they took advantage of some mistakes that we made. What are your thoughts on both teams? Again, both of these teams are 0-1 going into week 2.
Look, when you're fighting against the ropes, you got to come out with a victory. You're gonna have two teams that it could go either way. You know, typically these types of games from West Coast to East Coast favors the home team on the East Coast sometimes, but uh, the Raiders have been really good. In this series under Harbaugh, it's been 5-3. The Ravens on the series at 5-3. So right there, a win here is 5-4. I think we'll be competitive. I think the Raiders will be competitive. I think you got a lot to prove at quarterback, really, at both positions because Lamar lost that game. Minshew lost the game. You go out, you 0-1. So you got two quarterbacks got to come out and play lights out, and with the new players, new additions to both teams, still figuring out what each team's identity will be. Will the Raiders be able to run the ball a little bit better this week? Will the Ravens be able to close the game out in terms of, finishing those big plays? Uh, I think there's a lot of variables. The Ravens ran the ball a lot and ran it really well last week. Over 185 yards rushing. Lamar had over 270 plus yards passing. 452 yards total, which is number one in the league for the Ravens. Uh, At the same time, the Raiders have to establish the run and the pass to kind of have a balanced attack. I think, not having a lot of rushing yards, 71 yards rushing last week, that's paltry compared to what you got to do at 100 yards per game, and that at trying to average that. So, I could think it's gonna be a toss up. I haven't looked at the line, but it's probably somewhere between four, 4 and 5 points right now.
I'm gonna pull that up at some point during the live, and we'll circle back to that. Shout out to MG's Raider in the chat. You said, TJ, what do you think of the Raiders linebackers right now?
It got to jail, got to jail, and got to mold, and really, against this team, it's fitting gaps. It's up starts up front, and we will get little not so solid. Got to close up some gaps up front. I think to stop this whole attack. You know, I'm gonna have to watch these guys a little closer, but starting out, these guys gonna have to just play a lot more solid D. Control the front, make sure the back end doing what they doing. I think communication, noisy defense is a great defense, and I'm listening for these guys even when I'm at the game, when I'm watching the game. I'm like, I was at preseason game, the last one of the last preseason games in Vegas, and again, communication. We got to communicate better. We got to be a noisy defense. So I look for the backers to lead that charge, and that's kind of what I'll be looking for in this second matchup against Baltimore, because it'll be loud, it'll be noisy, and you're gonna have to talk. You're gonna have to talk and communicate on defense, and that's gonna be the thing. And even on offense, when it gets loud and noisy, you're gonna have to be talking and communicating. So we'll check the backers out and see what they how they get better this week.
So looking at the spread right now, as it stands, it's +9 for the Raiders, -9 for Baltimore, and the over/under is 41.5 as it stands today. The matchup
Yeah.
predictor for ESPN has the Ravens at 71.5% to the Raiders 28.3% for the winner. I've talked about this in terms of Lamar last week, watching that game with their new weapon at the running back position, Derrick Henry. He did not get a lot of touches, and I have a feeling that Coach Harbaugh is going to change that and change that quickly to have Derrick Henry a little bit more involved, because we know there's times where it comes to Lamar Jackson throwing that he gets a little erratic at times. He's not always the best when it comes to accuracy. And I think that they're really going to try their best to try to just run it down the defense's throat this coming Sunday.
That's the first thing teams gonna try to do against us until we shore it up. Derrick Henry is a different beast. You gotta. I think Baltimore had over 75 offensive plays last week.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, again, the Florida game says sometimes you got to pass the ball a lot more. Sometimes you can control the clock, but um, no, Lamar had over 100. I mean, it was like this is his. He has like 4 games in history with 250 plus passing yards and over 100 yards rushing. You know, it's frustrating to say we got to stop the run, but then the quarterback is rushing for over 100 yards, but your back isn't. You key in on the back. You Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry. But who's hurting you the most? Lamar. You know, just all over the field. So I think you can't really just focus on D. Henry. He's a big guy, big target. You can't miss him. I would be asking our linebackers and defense to look at Lamar and Derrick Henry, because even in past situations, that's when Lamar hurts you. So you can't think just run on up front. You got to think run and pass and run. So even when it's pass, you got to think run. After you get past, you got to think run, because Lamar can hurt you with over 100 yards. So you think run when you see run sets with Derrick Henry, run pass, and then even on obvious pass downs, you're thinking pass run on these plays that Lamar gets to shake out, especially in one back, empty, roll out, scrambling, man coverage, alerting man coverage to alert the run. Because when you run off 4, you got one underneath to try to defend one-on-one with Lamar, and that's where the extra yardage come in.
What are your thoughts on the new addition of Antonio Pierce as the Raiders' new head coach?
It's for the culture. I think that locker room responded to him last season. It was a great decision by ownership and to bring him back, keep the continuity somewhere if you're losing players and stuff. So I like it. You know, we gotta figure out what our quarterback situation is right there. I think you're solid in Baltimore, but you're trying to figure out Gardner. What you got behind him, what you got pressuring him. Does he have any competition? Is anybody waiting, raring to go in there after him? But I think you know you just got to focus on getting your offense and your quarterback going. That I think that's the biggest thing.
With this year's draft, the 2024 draft, that is, were there any draft picks that the Raiders made that like really stood out to you, or somebody that caught your eye? You were like, this guy could be something special in silver and black.
Nah, nobody. I was looking more like last year's team
Mm-hmm.
to now this year's team. I mean, I'm sure there's some guys going to emerge, but this team again is with Antonio Pierce being a defensive minded guy. The offense typically struggles when that happens unless you got a great old coordinator. And so, I just think, you want to get going with, focusing on, you know, what are you going to do at quarterback? The draft picks, veteran leadership. You want to be in the playoffs. Going to be more teams in the playoffs this season. The close games you got to win. You got to win the games you're supposed to win. But, where's the veteran leadership? And that's kind of what I'm looking for. Not at rookies. I draft, okay, you filled one spot in the draft, maybe two. But other than that, you really got a nucleus of guys you bring it back on O&D and special teams that you want to say, we're going to be competitive. We're not rebuilding. This isn't a rebuild,
Right.
right? This is a second year young head coach that got a decent roster that in the West should be competitive.
I'm looking at it in terms of the game against the Chargers. Like, our offensive line was really the Achilles heel in that loss, and then again, the fumble by Minshew was truly the game changer because we stayed in it throughout the game, and things just did not look up for us after that. We had the miscue, or the missed field goal by Daniel Carlson as well, that hurt us. The 4th and 1 controversy late in the game, us punting instead of going for it, but it was clear as day the offense wasn't getting the job done. We were not going to get that 1 yard that we needed to convert and get another first down.
Hmm.
Salute to everybody in here. That's why it should be 4 games. What are we talking about, MGs? I don't know what I fell into in this chat. And again, this show is for you guys tonight. If you have any questions in the chat, feel free to ask Tim questions. This is what we're here for tonight. We're here to have some fun as well. We have to come out stronger than don't Dodger Raiders everything. Let's not start that, please. Like, it's way too soon for that, dude. And
Way
I
too soon for what?
talking about the Shannon Sharp incident, which I just found out about late this afternoon.
Right, right. Well, you know what? Back real quick, one point on the Raiders. You gave up 4 sacks. You got four sacks.
Yep,
Okay. Fumble,
yep. Two fumbles.
turnover.
We had
And,
Minshew had a fumble. Zamir White, our running back, had a fumble, and the interception late in the game, which
and
was
the
like tipped.
interception
It
late in
was
the game
tipped, and yeah,
okay. And then you went 5 for like 13 on third down.
mm-hmm.
You only had a total of 61 offensive plays
Yep,
to Baltimore 75. So I think, and they were 7 for 14 on third down. I think third down, if you're going to end up in a lot of third and shorts, third and medium, third long, third downs, you're going to have a lot of third down, 14, 15 third downs. You're going to have a high third down conversion ratio or at least 50-50, at least 50%, third down, you got a shot, to move the chains, penetrate that deep into their territory. And I think that's going to be really the key is what happens on third down as well. And again, the O-line, that's run blocking, pass blocking. It's again, we got to find out what's the identity of the front seven on the offensive side as well.
I'm looking at the box, the team stats from the other day. Yeah, so third down efficiency We were 5 for 14. They were 4 for 15. And the crazy thing is, like early in the game, like we were able to convert time and time again. Like that one stat, they were constantly showing that every time there was the third down for us. And we looked to be a hell of a lot more efficient earlier in the game. And then we just let it go. And when it comes to this offensive line right now, I've made my comments about it. I haven't even seen the injury report that came out a couple hours ago. But in terms of our offensive line, like two of our starting offensive linemen have been banged up. You had Colton Miller that was coming off the shoulder injury. He's dealing with a knee now this week. You have Andre James that is dealing with an injury as well, our center. And it's like, if these guys aren't able to play, who's going to be the ones to step up? At the same time, another problem, and this is for both teams actually, the interior offensive line for both teams. They were just very, very suspect, and that was another reason why neither one of them, mostly us, we couldn't really get it going. Of course, J.K. Dobbins, out of like 34, 35 run plays that they ran, he was able to get away with two very late in the game. Here is the injury report, actually, as I'm looking at it. Brock Bowers, full participant. Linebacker Divine Diablo, full. Tommy Eichenberg, full. Andre James was a full participant today. That's good. Colton Miller was a full participant today. Another positive sign. Our rookie out of Oregon, JPJ, he was limited, still dealing with this illness. Camryon Richardson and Tyree Wilson both did not participate for the Ravens. Outside linebacker Adisa Isaac, hamstring, he was limited. Linebacker Roquan Smith, shoulder, he was a full participant today. Kyle Van Noy, dealing with the eye, he didn't participate. Cornerback Nate Wiggins, he was not listed on Wednesday, but dealing with a neck injury, he did not participate today. So that's the most updated injury report. We'll have one more tomorrow. And then, we'll be flying out, I believe, late tomorrow afternoon or early tomorrow afternoon for our Raiders to make the necessary adjustment to that time zone. Making sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. If anybody has any questions for Mr. Johnson, feel free to ask away, guys. Again, this is all about y'all. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I
Yeah,
don't.
we would land on 5, 6 o'clock in the evening on Fridays, going to the East Coast. Have that nice little team meeting. Maybe you get there 3 to 4, depending on how early you leave. But we would get there, have a team meeting, night meeting, 9 o'clock, and then you off to bed and trying to get acclimated.
Now, we know a couple of those East Coast trips early in the season last year into Josh McDaniels, they would spend almost a full week on the East Coast. I think they were in West Virginia last year as they were playing. I want to say it was Buffalo. Did you ever have to go through something like that where you spent like a long period of time away? When you had away games on the East Coast, you would spend like a week or so out there for practices before those games?
No, we would fly out on a Friday. We'd land on Friday evening. We'd take care of Friday night, sleep, wake up early Saturday, all day Saturday. You didn't get a rest, and then you get refreshed and you in the bed early Saturday evening, and you back up Sunday. There's always enough for us to go out there and play at 1 o'clock East Coast time. It was get and then get back on the plane immediately after and fly back 4.5, 5 hours. So we took care of our business a little different. It was all about that focus, that game focus, that acclimation. That's on you. You can start that early in your week when you're a professional. We just want to give you a little Friday, Saturday night, 2 nights sleeping, and then you got to get up and get in and get to work and get it back out of town. So no excuses. We got to do what everybody else do. And the Super Bowl week, yeah. You had a week between back then you had a week of preparation during San Diego, and that's different. But no, ain't no time to be trying to baby these guys, have them on the East Coast all the time. A flight is a flight is a flight. You do that in the off season, so don't act like you can't take. Yeah, come on, guys, let's go to work and get this bread.
Let's talk about that Super Bowl 37. What was the experience like playing in pretty much we know it was like the world's greatest game for the greatest championship in professional sports. What was the experience like?
Yeah, again, it started the week off, and then going into the game, you get the tickets the week off. You got to get your family all acclimated and set up for tickets, and then you're gonna be able to, get the other tickets and maybe transfer them to other people. That was a big deal back then. 15 tickets. Then you get The Bentley we pulled up, homies Terrence Shaw had the drop top Bentley Azures. We riding around in rental Ferraris, Lambos, just hotels, just everything was just so set up and beautiful. But the only problem was we practiced at the San Diego Chargers facility, which is our Division 4,
Mm-hmm.
and they had mirror tint around their offices, and you look up there and you just like, man, somebody looking at us practice or something. Like, you just don't, yeah, it's just something ain't right. So, uh, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, it was just a great experience. The game itself kicking off, you running down and cameras flashing, and the whole, you got to hold it down until the game actually going because there's so much stuff going on pregame. Just a real live experience, and it kind of slows the game. Is going real slow at that point. This time of year, things flying around fast. By that time of year, things have slowed down so much that you almost in slow motion, and you can just see it and just feel it. And it was a good feeling out there to go out and make plays. Coming from Fairfield, Alabama, coming out making plays, in front of the world so the world can see. I think that's what it's all about. This game is all about making plays. And you talk about the fronts for these teams and how weak they are, how much better they got to be. Listen, this the NFL. Everybody is good. Everybody want to be great. You gonna get your butt pushed around, or you gonna push around, but everybody's good, and everybody's getting better and better and better. So, it happens. You go into teams just beat you because they were the team that day. But week in and week out, you'll see a difference, and we should see a difference in the Raiders this week of saying, you know what, we're not gonna get pushed around. This the NFL. We're just as good, and we're better than them. And you got to go out and beat a team like Baltimore. Try to go out and get 9 points. Saying you're not gonna show up. I mean, you put this stuff on and strap it on a little bit tighter when you 9 points. It's like let's go to work and get this money.
Final prediction for this upcoming matchup for week 2. What do you got?
Listen, like I said, I look at history. I don't just like to look at one game. Like I say, the Ravens own the series under Harbaugh at 5-3. But it's just you know with all the weapons and last week likely to. I mean, Lamar went to the tight end like 9 or 10 or 12 times or something like that.
Yeah, likely. He was looking for likely
Likely
a lot more
12
than
times.
Andrews. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Zay 10 times, but not a lot of catch. So it's like I don't think they know what they're gonna do. I don't think they know their identity. You think they might want to run the ball, but you got to pass it. So I just think I have the game somewhere between 4 to 5 point difference. I think that can swing either way. I give the Ravens the tilt right now just because they're at home, just because they're already favored by 9. But when the Raiders figure out their identity and come out and run some plays and make plays, this can be a 3 to 4 point swing the Raiders' way if you protect the football, if you run the football, pass the football a little bit, play a little defense, stay in the game, make some teams plays on special teams with the special kickoff now. You can make a little special team move with a little bit of movement up front on special teams and kickoff and punt return. So I just think I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna go down like -3. It's not -9. That's just disrespectful in the league. Yeah, yeah, -3 because of the Raider fight. Yeah.
I think I'm going to go the route of somewhere between. I think it could be close. Again, like you said, like both of these teams are really trying to find their offensive identity more than anything else right now.
Hmm.
I think if more specifically, the Raiders' offensive line can figure it out, if they make some type of changes in that starting offensive line this week and get everybody involved and give Minshew that time in the pocket when he needs to throw. Still need to establish that run, and I talked about this during AP's presser the other day. AP said whichever these running backs has the hot hand is the one that's going to keep getting fed. And the way that Alexander Madison looked, I was very, very happy with what he did. I've talked about him from the time that we signed him, saying that I really don't think that he's a solidified number one. As a two option, absolutely solid. He's a good swing back, and he's a downhill runner. I think if we see anything remotely close to what he did last week, that they're going to feed him the ball a lot more. Zeus has to protect the ball as well. I think final score, I think we're looking at potentially 28-24 Raiders. Like I said, I think it's going to be a very close game. Uh-oh.
I like that. You better take the Raiders. You you got to take the Raiders.
there's no way
Uh,
that I won't.
at the end of the day, yeah. Uh, you know, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if we come out here and win the game, but it's like you run the ball 22 times, 71 yards. You know, uh, and I'm talking about 3.2 yards a carry. That you got to be shooting 4 yards a carry. I mean, it's on the other hand, 5 yards, 5 different carries, and then averaging 8 on the ground. So again, we could be in this game. I think when the last game we beat them in Vegas was in 20. What was in actually must have been in 2021. The last game was in 2021.
21, the Monday night
Raiders
game, yeah.
won 33-27 in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
On the Monday night game, right? So it is a toss-up, and guess what? You got to get one. So let's go Raiders, man. You know what? Go Raiders. Come out and travel. Antonio Pierce. I played against him. Came in 01 as the number one pick. Antonio Pierce is in that 01 draft. I was in the 01 draft, undrafted. I always pull for my guys. I'm pulling for Antonio Pierce for sure, hoping that he can get the victory and get the Raiders back on one. And you know what? I like that. That's a victory you can get. That if you get it, it's going to be key in the end of the season. The Ravens are good enough. They got their stuff all flying around. They're going to be all right. But if we can come in here and steal one with the Raiders, I think that'll be really. I'd be happy. I mean, I can't lose. The Raiders. I'm not going to lose Sunday. So.
Tim, I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate you pulling on up, man. We're going to wrap this up. Is there anything else you have for the nation before we close it out?
Man, listen, I had a good time at the alumni event out there at the during preseason. I love my Raiders. Go Raiders. Travel well. We'll be doing some events around the stadium. Some groups out there. I know Terry Russell's group is out there. Lincoln Kennedy, Lamont Jordan. We're gonna try to catch up with those guys and see what's going on. Rod Wilson should be a good reunion, man. I think with the Raiders in town. So either way, it's Raider Nation for life, and it's just win, baby, just win. And Al, make this one for Al. Get this one for Al. When had you down, come out, play Raider football, and get the Al.
Salute to Huey P in the chat. He just asked, what are some of your fondest memories at the Oakland Coliseum? Uh-oh.
Man, that AFC Championship game against Tennessee Titans to get into the Super Bowl was something special. Getting a piece of McNair and beating a guy who already been to the Super Bowl. That was a big game in Oakland. The fans, the celebration, confetti afterward, the AFC Hunt Trophy holding up with Jerry Rice and everybody. I mean, you knew you weren't going to lead a state. If you win that game, you're going to go right down to San Diego and play the Super Bowl. I mean, it was a surreal moment in my career to have worked all my life to get a chance to go, and where I still sport my Super Bowl, Super Bowl ring, AFC Championship ring. So that was my championship in that regard, and I'm happy it was in Oakland.
Tim, we definitely appreciate you having on. We're going to wrap it up.
Yeah. Yep.
Let me close this out real quick. You'll still see me. We're going to talk when we finish. Give me 1 sec. There we go. Dope Live. I appreciate everybody that pulled on up. If you haven't already, do me a favor. Smash them thumbs. Hammer that sub, crush the bell to stay up to date with all your Raiders news, rumors, updates, live streams, and reactions in the house of Hammer built by the nation for the nation. Raider Nation News Today. We will be back this coming Sunday. I'm gonna talk to Graf and see. I'm gonna talk to Wasted about doing the fantasy show together. I think it'll be a lot better, a lot more fun. We'll do the start sit-ems and get your guys' lineups right and ready. I didn't actually hear from anybody this week in regards to how your fantasy teams did, but we want to hear about that this coming Sunday so we can get you guys right and ready. Again, Buffalo and Miami are playing right now. It's on Prime. I'm going to try to watch a little bit of that, at least something to help me go to sleep. But appreciate you guys again, everybody that pulled on up tonight. And of course, we will be live. I believe we're starting at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific time on Sunday for the Week 2 matchup as our Las Vegas Raiders head to Baltimore to face Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, continue to stay safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. COVID or not, you should always remember to wash your hands and your asses. And as always, win, lose, or tie, Raider Nation till I die. Till next time, y'all. And of course, as always, on my New York, peace, love, and positivity. I'm outro.